WUSA 9 breaking news now.
Major breaking news tonight. Shots fired at the White House Correspondents Dinner where President Trump was in attendance for the very first time. At around 8 p.m., the evening was just getting underway. Opening remarks had just been had and dinner was being served when shots were fired. 2 hours later, the president addressed the nation from the White House press briefing room.
This was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer.
Thanks for joining us on the news at 11. I'm Larry Miller. Lots going on tonight. The details still coming in. At around 8:30 tonight, while journalists were gathering to celebrate freedom of the press, a gunman opened fire in the lobby of the Washington Hilton. Thankfully, no one was injured. And we're going to play that video yet again for you, showing you the moments when those shots were in fact heard and the president was rushed off the stage. And then the president, just 30 minutes ago, posted this video showing security camera video of the alleged gunman that we now know is 31-year-old Cole Allen of Torrance, California. That's according to CBS News, running past security. The video is blurry, but you can see Secret Service quickly taking that man down. President Trump also posted these pictures showing the alleged gunman as you see him here on the floor. The president said again during the presser, this is 31-year-old Cole Allen from Torrance, California. Now, despite all of this, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, Weijia Jiang, re-emphasized the importance of journalism, especially in times of chaos and crisis.
I said earlier tonight that journalism is a public service because when there is an emergency, we run to the crisis, not away from it. And on a night when we are thinking about the freedoms in the First Amendment, we must also think about how fragile they are. I saw all of you reporting, and that's what we do.
Our Alexis Wainwright is live in front of the Washington Hilton. Security remains high, no doubt, as this investigation continues tonight. Alexis, we also know that the president said that D.C. police will be taking over this investigation. We heard from D.C. police about this investigation. What are they telling us?
Well, Larry, we heard a lot from D.C. police, but also Mayor Muriel Bowser talking about this situation. Now, we heard that this is an isolated incident when it comes to the shooting that happened here inside the Hilton Hotel. We asked several questions about other events that we know typically happen the same night of this dinner and other people going to other parties and things of that nature. They say that they believe that the suspect is the only person associated with this shooting and with this case. And again, it is an isolated incident. But I do want to show you a little bit really quickly of what we're also seeing in the scene that we've been seeing all night outside of the hotel as well. Several different law enforcement agencies out here, mainly DC police, also Secret Service, the FBI. These are all agencies that are a part of this investigation that is actively happening. Now, if you can come back to our shot, I do want to show you just what we're also seeing here inside the hotel where the incident happened. I'm going to move out of the way so you can kind of see the heavy police presence still here inside the hotel. Secret Service also still here in the building. We've seen yellow tape. We've seen them kind of cornering off different parts of the hotel as this investigation continues. Now, we did also hear some accounts from witnesses, people who were inside the room and also inside the hotel when that shooting happened. I want to go to that sound so you can hear how closely their accounts are compared to what we heard from D.C. officials.
It felt to me like somebody dropped a glass or something, like it was sort of like a loud bang. Didn't really think that much of it. And then I heard pop, 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 which I figured to be gunshots.
I heard what sounded like bangs. I don't know if they were gunshots or not. Everybody hit the floor. It was very frightening. How could somebody get in there and try to cause harm when we know the president's going to be there and the vice president's going to be there?
One of the ladies I mentioned, who was of the security services, said that she had seen it happen, that she saw somebody push past security, somebody had had a shotgun, and that's why it was so loud.
So again, you can even hear it in their voices as they're talking to us and sharing those frantic moments when they were here inside the hotel. Now we also want to bring in WUSA's 9's own Matt Gregory, who was also here inside. Just tell me what you heard, what you saw.
Well, so there are 3 levels here, right? So we're on the bottom level here, which is where the ballroom is. There's one above us and then one above that, which is where I was. And I didn't hear much. I mean, I heard some commotion, but it's a hotel. At some point, we saw everyone kind of running the doors, a mild, chaotic event. It looked like everyone was leaving, and then the police were coming in, and you see FBI coming in, you see Secret Service coming in. But I did run into Congressman Jamie Raskin from Maryland. I said, Congressman, you were in the room. What did you see? And I think we have a clip to show you of him and his kind of reaction to what was going on. This was me speaking to Congressman Jamie Raskin from Maryland real quick.
All right, Congressman Raskin, just tell me what you heard, what was going on tonight.
Well, I had just arrived a few moments before. I was going to meet the people from NBC. They had invited me to be their guest. I was headed to their table. Some people from the Boston Globe were there and got up to greet me and say hello. And their guest was an old friend, Kari Lake. So I was just talking to them, and then all of a sudden I heard just a huge ruckus and a huge noise. And I heard people start to say, "Get down," and someone threw me to the ground, and it was a Secret Service agent, and I landed on top of some other people. And then we were on the ground for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then people began to get up, and then the word just began to spread that there had been someone who tried to enter the room who had been shot by the Secret Service, and that when people heard the shots, that's when everybody started screaming to get down, and the Secret Service started, throwing people to the ground.
In the most human way possible, I had to ask you, how do you feel right now?
A little shaken, but of course I went through January 6th, and that went on for 3 or 4 hours, and this was over in a couple of minutes. But obviously we're concerned for everybody's safety, and there were a lot of political people in the room, so they're saying it's going to keep going on, but I think I'm headed home back to Maryland. Everybody's safe and sound tonight, I hope.
Very good. That's all I got for you. Thank you.
So another thing that I've kind of noticed in the last, I would say, and we were watching this together, Alexis, 5 or 10 minutes, I see someone coming out with what, from my experience as a reporter, is an evidence box for what looks like a pistol. Now, we do know from hearing from the mayor and interim chief of MPD, Jeff Carroll, that the suspect was found with a shotgun, a pistol, as well as several knives. Now, I don't know if in that evidence box was the gun, but this is one of the things we had here from folks you spoke to, folks that I spoke to. They heard either multiple gunshots or a clattering of sound, and it has been an evening where many folks here are on edge. I mean, as you would expect. But the thing that I'm really starting to notice about, as you're seeing FBI, torrents of FBI agents coming through, Secret Service, obviously MPD is kind of the lead agency here, but you're seeing it's what you would expect a national response to be if the president is at a place where a shooting has taken place. And I don't know how much we've been able to kind of communicate with the mayor said, but the mayor said obviously the investigation continues. I asked U.S. Attorney Pirro, I said, based on what's happening, what you saw, are there terrorism charges facing? She says we'll have to evaluate what's happening. So obviously nothing there, but it looks like at this point, everything is under control. However, we do have that one Secret Service agent who's in the hospital. They say it's minor injuries, but obviously we have to monitor that. What does that mean? And the suspect himself, the president's already tweeted a picture of him, and he's been taken to a hospital as well. So that's what we're seeing on the ground floor here. You can see as we go, DEA, FBI are all walking through this whole area. We seem to be, Alexis and I, right in the chute for everything that's happening. That's what we're seeing from this angle. But of course, we'll wait to see how the rest of this investigation plays out.
Sure. Thank you so much. So we appreciate it. So again, you're hearing first accounts from also Matt Gregory, who was here inside when all of this chaos broke through. So again, just to kind of tap off of what he said, we did hear in that press conference, Janine Pirro mentioned that the suspect will be arraigned and will be in court on Monday. He is facing multiple charges at this hour. There could be more charges in the future, and obviously we'll have to wait and see the condition of that Secret Service officer who was taken to the hospital. So again, we're sticking here right now. Obviously still a lot happening here in the hotel, multiple agencies moving through in and out as this investigation continues, and we'll update you as we learn more. But for now, reporting live inside the Washington Hilton Hotel, Alexis Wainwright. Larry, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Alexis, thank you so much. I think it's worth pointing out as well, as we heard from Acting Police Chief Jeffrey Carroll, that the perimeter, that the security perimeter worked as designed, which he said, was important, especially in this incident. So thank you for the update. Also, tell Matt we are happy that he is safe and sound as well. Alexis, thank you. Let's talk more about these charges that we know that this suspect is now facing. We learned from attorney for D.C. Jeanine Pirro that he is facing multiple charges, including using a firearm during a crime of violence, an assault on a federal officer using a dangerous weapon. This high-profile investigation is now in the hands of MPD, and Pirro's office will be handling the prosecution of this case locally. Now, meantime, a short time ago, we heard from CNN anchor Wolf Blitzer, and he was in the lobby and he heard the shots fired. Take a listen.
A very scary incident. All of a sudden, a guy with a weapon, and it was a very, very serious weapon, he starts shooting, and I happened to have been a few feet away from him as he was shooting. And of course, the first thing that went through my mind is he trying to shoot me? And I don't think he was trying to shoot me, but I was very close to him as the gunshots were fired. And it was very, very scary, but I'm okay now.
All right. Wolf is okay. We know of one federal agent that is in the hospital now, again, with minor injuries. Again, police have arrested 31-year-old Cole Allen of Torrance, California. Now, after the incident tonight, I spoke with Tom Warrick. He is a former senior official at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, where he worked on counterterrorism, homeland security policy across multiple administrations. Here's what he told me. Mr. Warrick, a lot certainly is evolving this evening after we have those confirmed reports of shots fired at the White House Correspondents Dinner. We heard from Secret Service saying now that they have the situation under control. The president wasn't hurt, neither was anyone in the cabinet nor the First Lady, but they were able to sort of consolidate this issue, this situation, to sort of the interest that where the magnetometers were. Based on your experience, sort of walk me through this sort of initial analysis of the situation and sort of the response from Secret Service.
So several things happen almost simultaneously. First is you get the protectees out of harm's way, and that's obviously what you saw the Secret Service doing, rushing the president, the vice president, and other important officials to a place of safety. The second thing is to find out if the shooter is first neutralized, and then if there are other shooters. You always worry that there is more than one. And so one of the most important things they would do after taking down the first shooter is to make sure there were no other Confederates around. You saw the Secret Service in some of the videos sending people away to try to isolate the area. That's all very standard. As soon as they've got him down, they're going to be looking for identification, looking for his cell phone, anything that would give any indication of who he is so that name checks could be run immediately. By now, I'm sure they already have been. I'm sure they have an idea of who the shooter is. If he had any kind of identification on him, even something as simple as a cell phone, they would have reverse engineered his phone number and found out his identity. So right now, they're looking for any associates. They're looking to see what might have been missed to tip off why he was doing this, who his real target was, what his motivation was. And so there is quite literally an army of law enforcement people working on this literally within 5 minutes of the shooter being taken down.
Well, the Washington Hilton is, of course, a historic hotel in Northwest D.C. The Washington Correspondents Dinner is held there every year. Now, this is not the first high-profile shooting that has taken place there. 45 years ago, as you see there from those images, John Hinckley Jr. tried to kill President Ronald Reagan. He shot the president when Reagan left the Washington Hilton after addressing a labor convention. The bullet ricocheted off the limo and hit the president in his underarm. It broke his rib, punctured a lung, and caused some serious internal bleeding. Of course, Reagan would survive and did. Press Secretary James Brady and 2 police officers were seriously wounded in that incident. Well, you can expect more from WUSA9 on this breaking news. For updates anytime, download our free mobile app. And of course, you can stream us anytime for free on WUSA9 Plus. We're taking another live look at the Washington Hilton tonight, where shots rang out in the lobby during the White House Correspondents Dinner while President Trump was in attendance, along with other dignitaries as well. We've been telling you that no one was injured, though an officer was shot in the chest. The gunman was taken into custody and is also being evaluated at the hospital as well. Now, we are going to stay on top of this breaking news story and provide more updates throughout this show and on WUSA9 mornings tomorrow beginning at 7 a.m. Well, right now at 11, D.C. police have now issued a new juvenile curfew for tonight that lasts throughout the entire weekend. Now, take a look at this. MPD says that the juvenile curfew zone is for all of Navy Yard and will begin and did begin starting at 8 o'clock this evening. Now, a reminder, there's always a citywide curfew in effect from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., but that is set to expire on May 1st. D.C.'s City Council postponed a vote this week on extending the city's emergency youth curfew zones.
This WUSA9 Weather Impact Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Okay, our weather impact alert's going to end in about 4 minutes. That's good. That means everything is moving out. Here's radar past couple of hours. The only showers left, really, are pulling out of Prince George's County going into Anne Arundel County, and everything is light. It's all shades of green, so there's nothing severe, no heavy downpours. About to move over 97, just north of Bowie, and then that's it. Rainfall rates here really low. I mean, you have some wet roads around 3, but again, this is almost completely out of here. Now, by tomorrow, here's the thing. It's going to be dry, but not very pretty. So we have northeasterly winds. There are the arrows. Temperatures in the 40s to start. Dulles was 86 yesterday. Hard to believe. By 10 o'clock, we're still in the 40s and cloudy skies across the board, but again, we're dry. Make it back into the 50s by lunchtime. Should make it to upper 50s across the board. And look, that's the base map color. So a little bit of sun is possible north and west of town. You might see the sunset in Frederick, Hagerstown, a little better chance out in Cumberland. And then tomorrow night around this time, it's chilly again. Mid-40s in Frederick and also into Hagerstown, about 50 downtown. And don't look now, Monday at the bus stop, we might see a frost advisory, low to mid-30s in Hagerstown and Frederick, low 40s downtown. So even if we don't have a frost advisory, if you planted something that's in a plant and it's in a pot and it's, you know, it's susceptible to cold weather, bring it inside. Even 40 will stress it out. So 59 tomorrow, breezy and chilly. 70 on Monday. That may be the pick of the week, actually. 70 on Tuesday, but we have a stray shower possible. Wednesday, better chance of showers in the afternoon and evening, clearing out on Thursday, and then a cold start to May. Low 60s on Friday. Next Saturday, 65, maybe a stray shower, but again, a cold start to the month of May.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Well, in 4 days, WUSA9 is hosting the Ward 7 Democratic primary mayoral debate. On Wednesday, the candidates will face off in a formal debate for the very first time. The candidates who qualify for the Ward 7 debate are Kidney McDuffie and Janice Lewis-George. They'll be here in front of a studio audience facing off and answering questions about the future of Ward 7 in the district at large. Our very own Lorenzo Hall is moderating that debate. And again, you can watch the full debate on Wednesday at 7. Right here on WUSA9 and streaming on WUSA9 Plus. We'll be right back. We've been keeping you updated on the ongoing investigation surrounding the shooting at the White House Correspondents Dinner. As we have learned over the past hour or so, no major injuries to report other than the federal agent that was struck in his vest. That agent is currently at the hospital, in addition to a suspect that is also at the hospital as well. The suspect, 31-year-old Cole Allen of Torrance, California. And no doubt investigators are doing everything they can to learn more information about this suspect. But we do know that charges have already been filed to, in fact, using a firearm, doing a crime of violence, and assault on a federal officer using a dangerous weapon. Let's go to our Alexis Wainwright. She is at the Washington Hilton, giving us an update on the situation there. Alexis, you talked about the sort of security that still is there now. I'd imagine that they are doing a lot of the preliminary work of trying to figure out, one, how this all happened, two, really a motive in all of this. Why would this alleged gunman carry out an act like this?
Yeah, Larry, that's exactly right. We heard from the D.C. police chief, and he mentioned that there is just preliminary information so far because it's so early in this investigation. But I can tell you, we've seen a large police presence, several different agencies. We see the National Guard here inside the hotel near the lobby area. We're also seeing DEA, FBI, and all these other agencies. Now, I'm going to move out of the way really quickly. You can see this blue curtain here. This was just put here. We can tell you that there's yellow tape right behind it in several different agencies kind of combing through some of that evidence. It looks like this is an area where some of that activity also happened. But I'm also going to have my photographer Ann kind of pan over to the left side here. It might be hard to see, but this is also another active area that has been taped off and cornered off by law enforcement agencies as they continue to kind of investigate and put some of that evidence together from the scene here. It's an extensive scene. There's definitely several different parts of this hotel that have been cornered off and blocked off as agencies continue to comb through some of the evidence here. So as you can imagine, a lot for them to get through, try to figure out why exactly this suspect who has been identified went and did what he did, rushing that security checkpoint here that was right outside the ballroom near the Correspondents Dinner here. Now, a lot of frantic moments. We heard from several people who were inside the room. We also heard from people who were locked in a bathroom nearby that heard at least 4 or 5 shots go off during that shooting that initially happened. So again, a lot of people still on their toes right now, really trying to process what happened here tonight. Meanwhile, investigators here behind me working together to try to point and figure out why exactly all this happened. So obviously a lot more information that we need to find out. Obviously we will work on that and update you as we learn more. But again, right now we know that that suspect has been identified. He's expected to be in court as early as Monday, facing multiple charges. Janine Pirro emphasizing that he will be held accountable. We also know that the officer who was struck in the bulletproof vest is in the hospital being treated and attended to as well. So we'll continue to update you as we learn more. But for now, reporting live here inside the Washington Hilton Hotel. We'll send it back to you, Larry.
Alexis, before we let you go, any clarity in terms of the sort of hours ahead? Have authorities on the scene now told you when they potentially will rope off certain parts of the hotel, maybe change the security at the hotel given the situation that we've seen over the last several hours?
Well, we haven't heard much just yet when it comes to that, but during the press conference, there were several questions asked from the audience asking police, hey, we know there are other events also happening around this weekend, around this event. They believe it's an isolated incident, but they said that we could likely see an increased police presence around the city, around the area after something like this happening here at the hotel. I can also tell you right outside, because we've been outside for hours, we have seen several of those roads still closed off. And as I look outside the hotel window right now, I can tell you that several streets right here outside of the hotel still blocked off, and it'll likely be like that for hours as we continue to see crews here behind us still combing through evidence and blocking through some of those areas.
No doubt, the work continues. Alexis, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you so much. It is also worth mentioning as well, our very own Matt Gregory was inside of the hotel at the time of the shooting, heard the gunshots ring out, and offered us his perspective, even talking with Congressman Jamie Raskin to get his perspective on what took place as well, calling it a very frightening situation, and said that he was heading back to Maryland and not going to continue with the rest of the festivities tonight, given the circumstances that took place this evening. Stay with us. Our coverage continues after this. We're taking you back to the White House Correspondents Dinner, where the Washington Correspondents Dinner, we should say, where gunmen again opened fire in the lobby while President Trump, other members of the cabinet were in attendance as well. Again, no one was injured. The gunman is in custody. We do know that a federal agent was struck and is being evaluated at the hospital. That agent expected to be okay. Now, President Trump says that the event honoring the First Amendment will take place at a future date. There is still a lot of questions tonight after this shocking moment in history, and we are working, of course, to get you more information as soon as we get it. And of course, our team will be doing that tomorrow morning beginning at 7 a.m. With that, let's get a final check of the forecast before we say goodbye.
Okay, so real quick, just breezy and cloudy tomorrow, but dry, temps in the 50s. We're back to 70 on Monday.
All right, Tom, thank you. Thank you for watching. Good night.